Please welcome Sarah Chandler, VP of Environment and Supply Chain Innovation, Apple, and moderator Johanna Mair, academic editor, Stanford Social Innovation Review.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sarah, Vice President of the Environment and Global Supply Innovation, Global Supply Chain Innovation at Apple. Tell us a little bit more about your work and role at Apple.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. This is a perfect start to my Climate Week. So I lead a team that is broadly charged with upholding Apple's values in our global supply chain. So that's everything from labor and human rights to health and safety. It includes not just trying to figure out how to not harm, but actually do good for the environment. And we are also very focused on decarbonizing our products. So that's part of a goal that we call Apple 2030, which is to be carbon neutral, not just for our corporate footprint, we're actually already carbon neutral for our global operations, but for our supply chain and all of our products, including their lifetime use. So we try to really bring innovation to everything that we do, as is in the title, really trying to look at how we create systemic change and build supply chains that are good for people and planet.
Talking about innovation and success in innovation, last week was a big moment. You released your first carbon neutral products. Certainly a milestone. Tell us a little bit more what it took to get there and what should be a next milestone.
Yes, so much in that question. First, yes, very exciting week. Our first carbon neutral products in the all-new Apple Watch lineup. And also, a huge milestone, as with any big project that we undertake. So it was definitely an eventful week. I want to actually back up a little bit, talk a little bit about how we got there, because I think when you're talking about things like carbon neutral, the how is critically important. So we really set out to say, okay, how do we actually decarbonize a product? How do we remove the greenhouse gas emissions from the process of making and using a device? And we looked at the three biggest sources of emissions, which turn out to be electricity, the electricity used to make the product and to use it, materials, what the product is made out of, and transportation, actually. How does it get to the customer? So we really dove deep into each of those. Electricity, the answer sounds quite simple. We can talk about maybe why it's not always simple, but the answer with electricity is it needs to be renewable. That's how to take the carbon out of that. So that's what we've done for both manufacturing and for the customer's use of the product. Materials, our answer is recycled and renewable materials. They're generally lower carbon. We've had a goal for many years to build all of our products one day using only recycled and renewable material. So this was a really important milestone for us, and that's how we get carbon out of that process. And then transportation, we moved to lower carbon modes of shipping. So ocean freight, as an example, is like a 20th of the carbon impact of air freight. So we put those three things together. We got a 75% reduction in the carbon footprint of the product. And that's amazing, probably close to technical barrier in terms of what's available in the market and scalable today. It's really important to us that all of these solutions that we're using be scalable. And then for the 25% that's left, we invest in high quality carbon removal projects. We use nature-based solutions to do that. So wrap all that up, that's how we get to carbon neutral. We announced some other things too, though, because this is a journey, right? We're really trying to address the whole system here. So we also announced that we're moving away from leather in our products, and there's some really incredible materials with recycled content out. And then we also announced a customer feature called Grid Forecast. So you can see with a complication in your home app or for example, on your watch, when there might be cleaner energy available on your grid, and maybe you want to choose to charge devices then. So really trying to wrap around this question and bring some excitement, some enthusiasm, some fun stuff for the customer, but also very deep look at how do we decarbonize.
So lots of milestones. Anything in particular that you see like this is really a milestone we ought to reach soon? Also as an industry, not necessarily just Apple.
I mean, yes. So I would say renewable energy is a great one, right? I mean, there are places in the world where we still need to improve access to economically viable, accessible, renewable energy. And that's advocacy we should all undertake. But for manufacturing processes, for example, a lot of them can move to renewable pretty easily. I think that's a global challenge that we can absolutely undertake. And I guess I would say, I mean, I can say probably to this group of folks, look at what you're using. Look at the materials in your products. Look at the materials in whatever you are proposing to do, and figure out how to make them less carbon intensive. I mean, that's the work ahead of us all.
We talked about materiality, we talked about renewables. You obviously cover a global market, a global supply chain. Tell us a little bit more how you manage to localize, to contextualize actually your approach and really adapt or adjust how you operate depending on the particular place you go.
Yeah, this is a big question. I'll stick with renewable energy for a second. Global goal, obviously, all the electricity needs to be renewable, but then it gets pretty local pretty quickly. And the reason for that is that grids are generally in a local environment. We want, for example, suppliers. We have 300 of them who have committed to transitioning to renewable energy for their Apple load. We actually want them to do that in a way in which they have such a positive experience they do it for all of their customers. That's really what success looks like to us. So we spend a lot of time, for example, getting really tactical in local language. What are the renewable options in your grid? How can you engage in policy? We will join, for example, we're the first non-Japanese company to join a Japanese climate leadership partnership. Really trying to find places to plug in, to raise voices together, to say we need systemic change, we need renewable energy on this particular grid. So it gets pretty local pretty quickly. But then, of course, you can zoom out again and say the world really needs to transition to renewable energy. I think circular economy is actually a lot of the same, right? We want to move all of our products to recycled renewable material. We do that by focusing on 14 key priority materials, because you have to start somewhere, but also because they're 90% of the mass that we ship to customers. So it's a good place to start. But then again, you're working with a particular material in a particular place, and you're trying to get the best-in-class material recovery. And so that, again, becomes quite a local challenge. And maybe even hyper-local, because it actually starts with getting customers to bring products back. Please bring your products that you're no longer using, by the way, back to an Apple retail store, recycle them online, and then we can use those materials again. In many cases, you actually get a great credit as well. But that comes down to like the ultimate local, right? An individual in an individual place taking an action.
You talked about the systemic approaches, and what I hear from you, obviously you have to cover the global system, the local system. Also in your remarks, you already alluded us to the fact that we cannot just think about ecological systems, social system as local communities, but at the same time also the political system. So there's a lot of work that we also collectively ought to do. What are some of the points for advice for all of us, either corporations but also smaller startups, that you can give us, given that you have a very successful career in this area: materiality, renewables, circularity?
I mean, one, I'll say I think this is where your research is so important, so we can all figure out how these things intersect and how to kind of define the system and enact change. I will go back to, it has to be really truly scalable things that folks can implement. And I think for us, the biggest kind of guide here is that we're really trying to do these things in a way in which everyone can do them. And a big part of that is, honestly, we're just not here for the false belief that there is a trade-off between what is good for business and what is good for the environment. It's honestly just not true. It's like a thing we've been told and a system we've designed that doesn't have to be that way. And to just use us as an example, we've cut our carbon footprint 45% since 2015. In that same time period, our revenue has increased 65%. So this idea that you have to do one or the other, good for your bottom line or good for the planet, is just not true. And I think that makes things pretty easy to copy because you don't have to be navigating a trade-off. I think if you look deeply at the issues, you will find that there are systemic ways to enact change I mentioned our suppliers who are transitioning to renewable energy for all of their load, not just for their Apple load. That's one example. Looking at how we move materials around the world so that we can move recycled materials, not just newly mined materials. I mean, these are exciting things, and I guess my bottom line would be like, get to work, do something, try something, see if it works. It might not work, and if it doesn't, try something else.
Thank you so much, Sarah, Chandler. What a great way to kick off today.
Thank you all. Thanks.